Hey guys, what's happening? I've always been a believer in you get what you pay for. With eBay headers, however, I found out sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you guys probably saw in the last video that I'm ditching my long tube headers out of the Impala that I have behind me. Kept scraping and scratching a bunch of stuff, finally knocked a driver's side header loose, threw an O2 code because I was getting too much air in, just a pain in the butt. So I want to get rid of them. I want them to tuck up way nicer so that I'm not always scraping when I leave my driveway. So the fix is shorties, mid-length rather, headers. I'm going to put these on. Well, I thought I was going to put these on. I bought these from eBay, just like I bought the last ones, which I had no issues with. And I bought these ones from a similar vendor. I see tons of vendors. These headers probably all come from the same spot. They're LS swap headers. They fit a first-gen Camaro. I think they also fit S10 and Nova and like a ton of other stuff. These are a pretty common header, pretty common shape here. Obviously the driver and the passenger side, pretty common shape, right? Like that. There we go. That's how she would go. So on the surface, these aren't bad headers, right? The welds are nice. They're nice, thick flanges. Really nothing wrong with them from that standpoint. But I started to look a little deeper. These are 2.5-inch collectors, and they are 1 5/8 primary tubes. Nothing too special. Again, I'm just trying to minimize the power loss that I'm going to feel when I ditch the long tubes and go with these. But once I got these, I had a problem. And my problem was, when these are sold, they have these little cones in the collector inside here, right? And these cones get welded on probably before the actual collector gets welded on. You can see all these welds here. Anyway, that gets welded on, and it's important that it's clocked correctly because all 4 tubes enter into this primary. And again, from a performance standpoint, the better flow, the better off you're going to be. And I'm not nitpicking here because, again, these are just mid-length headers. There's nothing special. It's not a race car. But on one of these headers, specifically this one, I got this. The clocking of that cone was so bad, I feel like a blind person welded it. Again, that's no knock at blind people, and that's no knock at a blind person who could potentially weld. But in this case, it's not going to work for me. It was literally turned completely off. I would rather not even have that in there than have it clocked the way that it was so that it was sticking out straight into the exhaust flow. Now, I'm not an expert on exhaust flow and like the power losses. I know that a dinged header is not going to lose too much power, but I suspect that a blunt object in the middle of your exhaust flow right at your collector is going to be a problem. Again, not a drag racing kind of car. I'm not trying to get my ETs down, but again, if I'm going to pay for new headers, even though they're inexpensive, I want them to be at least welded on somewhat correctly, and I was unwilling to deal with that. So I decided to send it back. I sent it back to the company, and they were great. They got me a new one. Problem is, the new one is even worse than the old one. They're all just that bad. That's not going to work for me, so I'm going to send it back for a third time, hope I get the right one, and hope that somebody has that clocked correctly. If I didn't pay what I did for these, I would probably just cut them and modify it and do it myself. But that's the thing that you run into. I know that a legit pair of headers is like $600 on up. You could pay $1,200 or $1,500. These were less than $200, so I get it. They're not going to be perfect. I don't have crazy expectations that they should be perfect, but for the clocking that it was, I thought that was ridiculous. And again, now I'm having to go through a little bit of a hassle. So if that's something that you guys are trying to consider, are eBay headers worth it? In some cases, yes. And in some cases, you're going to be like me and get a couple of bad ones and have to send them back. So overall, you're just going to have to decide, is it worth it to you? You could pay $600 and get headers that aren't ever going to have any issues for you. Or you can try something like this and hope that you don't run into the same issues that I had. The last thing I'll say when it comes to headers that I've decided that I'm not going to cheap out on is the header gaskets. Obviously, when you buy a cheap pair of these, they throw in a cheap pair of header gaskets. And these are what I would say graphite gaskets, and they're decently thick. So those would probably work. They would probably do okay. But since I'm trying to eliminate an issue with the headers anyways, I decided to spend some dollars and get some legit header gaskets. Now, these are from Remflex, a US-made company. These are the correct ones for the welded headers that I have. But the deal with these is they're quite a bit thicker, and they're made from a composite material that actually, after it crushes to 50%, it'll expand back to, I think, 30% or something. So these ones, people swear by these. If you have warped header flanges or bad mating surface, you put these on and these are like guaranteed to stop your leak. So again, you could probably get these at a ton of different places. I know there's a ton of companies that sell, upgraded header gaskets, but that's something I'm not cheaping out on. I am going to go with the cheap headers, but I'm going to go with the nice header gaskets, and hopefully by the time I get that on the Impala, I'm going to have no more issues. Guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. I'd love to know your experience with eBay headers, if you had one. Was it good? Was it bad? What are your thoughts? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribe to our channel if you'd like. We do car videos once a week. We've got quite a few projects happening, both for my Chevy stuff. Evan's got his Mustang Fastback project full steam ahead right now. So we'd love to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much, you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.